Hello, you dirty potters. How are you today? Guess what I found on my front door this morning? It's another box from AMACO. I'm gonna tell you artists a secret. I only check my real life mail about once every month. So they have in fact sent me a box as well as a thank you little Christmas card that I really appreciate. Thank you, I really do appreciate this. I know this person, I know who that is. I know it does seem a bit strange, but getting thank you letters to some degree or good feedback from companies that I'm making videos about does really hit home, considering the majority of the positive feedback comes from you in the comments below the subscriber and things like clicking the like button. So that way I know to keep going. But if I make videos for companies and I never hear from them, I don't really know if I'm doing a good job. AMACO was one of the few companies that will send me stuff as thank yous for doing such a good job on their videos. But along with the thank you letter came this box, and I don't know what's in this because I have not opened it yet. But Dante, why is it upside down? You think I'm just gonna let you see everybody's address? There's a reason I opened the boxes upside down. I can't trust you. That's a lot of bottles. Inks? What are inks? Oh, they're thick. Listen to that. They're thick. Are they all like that? No, that one doesn't do it. God, sounds like a helicopter. Okay, that one does it. What else? Okay, 3 out of 4 so far. 5 out of 4. That one didn't do it. Are they all like this? I have done no research on the AMACO inks. I'm pretty sure I've seen these at the last NCECA in Utah that I went to, and I think they are more of a silk screening medium where you could kind of just push these through silk screens and stencils and things of that nature and make beautiful designs with them. But I've never played with these. Let's see, do we have a black one here? Okay, look, we have a black one right here. Let's open up this one and see if it works with our silk screens, because I am very excited to walk you through the process. We haven't done silk screens for a while on this channel. If you want to see one of my old videos about how I do silk screens that look like this, so nice, so clean, you can click this video, which will also be linked down below in the description. Unfortunately, the person who makes all my silk screens has gone out of business, so she doesn't exist anymore, but you can just find someone else who makes silk screens, send them an image, and they'll make it for you. Just be careful they're not using AI, because that will mess you up. Oh, we should probably read the letter, huh? Actually, editor, blur this out, blur this out. Don't worry, I'll read it, trust me. Don't question what I'm reading, I'll read it. Dear Dante, thank you so much. We love you, Skibbity Ohio 67, love AMACO. See? I know, see, they get it. Let's open it up just to see how thick it really is. Oh my Lord. Sounds like spaghetti. Oh, thankfully for me, I do have a bunch of stuff that I do have to put silk screens on for the next table I have coming up. A lot of my silk screen stuff looks like this. They're very simple cups with designs on them that I push a lot of these silk screen mediums through them to get a nice crisp image. And I usually make, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 of these every single year just so that I can sell them. And the way I usually do it is I take one of these, I have to add a little bit of underglaze, so I have to do this, right? And then I have to get something to thicken this underglaze, so I usually get some AMACO silkscreen medium. I put this in kind of like I'm doing table salt. Sprinkle some of that in there like that. Then I have to mix it in. And then I have to wait for about 10 minutes or so that everything kind of dries up. And then I take my fingers and I rub it on the silk screen. And I've done this plenty of times on YouTube in this video that I will link down below for you. But I'm willing to bet that these inks are just a kind of already pre-done version of what I'm doing myself. What I'm curious about is I want to see if this will work without all of the silkscreen medium and the ratios that I have to put in and the waiting time that I have to put in. I wonder if this will just work straight out of the box. Where is it? Where is it? Where's the best silkscreen I have? There you are, my beauty. Let's just take some of this on our finger. Oh, that is thick. Oh, damn, that's thick. Okay, I should probably stop doing that. That probably looks super sussy. And, ooh, that is clean. So I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. This is the first time I'm trying this on camera. My Potter brain told me that this would work out the gate though, because I've seen other people use this, although I've never used it myself. And I am very, very excited because that means I no longer have to do this. On top of that, this is a much smoother experience than whatever clumpy mess I was making over here. I didn't even read the bottle actually. What does it say? Okay, darkens at cone 5, becomes very dark at cone 10. You need a thin application for best results. Apply to bisque. Refer to, yeah, so I'm essentially using this the way that I usually use it. And we'll mark them, we'll make sure that we mark them, but we're gonna do a couple of these in the black ink just to play with it for this episode, and then we'll mess with other colors later. But then we're gonna kind of fight this against an underglaze, because what I'm looking for is that really dark color on my glazes and a really nice crisp image. And if this works better than this, regardless of the experience that I have with it, then I'm gonna just keep using this. But if this is gonna make some kind of light gray with one layer, and this makes a true dark, good black with underglaze, then I'm just gonna keep using this, unfortunately. The one thing that I can say about this is that it's actually a really good experience, because this is a very, very smooth product, and it saves me a lot of the time of mixing together all that other stuff that I showed you earlier. So that way I don't have to go through all the trouble of mixing it together and putting the proper ratio of silkscreen medium versus underglaze, and sometimes it has too much water and sometimes it doesn't, so I can dry it out, and sometimes I have to wait for a day in the summer so the water evaporates. I don't have to do all that. I can just do this if this works. These two were made with the ceramic printing inks from AMACO, the jet black version. We're gonna wash this off so we don't get cross-contamination, and then we're gonna do 2 other of the same exact cup on the same clay body, same temperature, same kiln, everything the same, and we're gonna make sure we use our underglaze with our silkscreen medium that I've been using for years, and we're gonna see the color difference that we get just as a comparison. We do have to mark these somehow because I will not be able to tell the difference in the future, so I'm gonna take some regular old black underglaze. Let's put a little dot right here. So we're gonna put these 2 little underglaze dots on here so we can tell the difference in between the underglaze that I usually use and the AMACO ceramic printing inks. This is the jet black. Hopefully in the time that I've used the AMACO inks, this has set up so that I could use it as normal, but you can see the difference right off the bat. This is way more clumpy and it makes for a way less enjoyable experience. Granted, it is made of super thick underglaze, and I am using silkscreen medium from MACO, and that's generally the way I do it. Put it on our finger and start rubbing with even pressure. And you essentially get the same result. One of the other things about this silkscreen medium that I make from underglaze is that this is going to dry out sooner or later. If I'm working on a project for more than about an hour or 2, I do need to cover this and possibly spray it with a little bit more water just to make sure that it's at the right viscosity or the right thickness to where it can be applied in this nature. If I don't somehow keep this at the correct thickness, or I don't put the correct amount of silkscreen medium, or I put too much glaze, well then I've essentially messed up the entire batch and it'll end up bleeding through and making a messy, non-standard image. This stuff here it comes already done for you, and it already comes with its own sealer. I could just seal this up. However, these, I usually have to make the amount that I need when I need it in the color that I need it at the time that I need it in order for it to work. So if this does work, it's going to be a much better time saver for me personally. I have this new green that I developed called Gargomon Green that I just developed maybe a couple months ago, and it's been working fairly well. I think this will be a really good combo for testing these glazes. So here's the AMACO ink one. Is this dry already? Ooh, that feels so nice. Just a quick comparison in between the two. I don't see a difference whatsoever. This one might look a little thicker, but that's mainly just because I put more layers of it on. The AMACO one says that it only needs 1 layer, so I really only put about 1 layer on there, and it should be fine. But as of now, I cannot see a difference in between the AMACO one and the underglaze silkscreen that I make for myself. Let's glaze these all the same way with the same glaze and the same kiln and see how they operate. Let's pour that in because there's no way that I'm going to waste any of my time brushing the inside of a cylinder. That would be insane. We got as consistent as we could with the glaze, even though that's not the focus of the video. So I would say all of these are about 1.4 specific gravity, even though the bottle over here does say 1.45. I added a little bit of water last night, and we dipped them all for about 7 seconds, considering I dipped some for 5 seconds and then double dip for a second or two. The hard part is I don't like to leave my bottoms unfinished. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glaze down there, just to make sure it looks like a finished product. So we might have a difficult time seeing the little black dot, so we have to make sure all of these are glazed. So I've skipped forward a little bit, mainly because I've been doing a lot of work with my silk screens. I've been doing a bunch of silk screen avatar stuff, but I've always been using my underglazes that I showed you how to thicken up at an earlier time. So as you can tell, I've been working a little bit, and as I've been working, I've been having some trouble with my underglaze that I thicken up with the silkscreen medium. I mean, some of these come out really, really good, and they're great. The water bender symbol is here. But some of them sometimes come out pretty bad. And from that one instance that I used from the AMACO inks, I had such a good experience, I kind of figured, why don't I just kind of go all in on one main product? So while I know these underglazed silkscreen versions over here work, we're gonna pop open this white one here from AMACO and see how that works on some of the milk and dark chocolate clay that AMACO sent us earlier. I do still have a bunch of milk chocolate clay bodies left, and I think that the white inks from AMACO, the screen printing ceramic inks, would look really good on some milk and dark chocolate clay bodies. I also want to be fully transparent with you in that I have been in this garage for 4 hours working on all of those cups to get them perfect, and I am annoyed. So I want to use the one where I don't have to set up another underglaze just to use this one thing. So I'm gonna go all in on these inks here and assume that if I fire over cone 5, I will be okay. Is that a sure bet and a good safety net? No. Are we still gonna do it? Absolutely. Click the like button. Okay, now that everything's out of the kiln, let's take a look. Let's take a look at our comparison test first of either the underglaze versus the ceramic prints from AMACO first. This is the black with the earthbender symbol on it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I sat here for about 30 minutes because I had a real problem figuring out which one was the underglaze with silkscreen medium that I used and which one was the AMACO product. Luckily for me, we put a dot at the bottom of the ones that we used from AMACO, and we didn't put a dot at the ones in which we didn't. So I do know the difference, but I cannot tell the difference. I was worried going into this that because underglaze is so much more stable and had a much wider cone range, and realistically, underglaze is kind of just like colored clay, realistically, that the specs on the bottle for the ceramic prints, because they said something like best in between cone 5 to cone 10, and it gets darker as you go up in temperature, I sort of assumed that this one was going to come out gray, the AMACO one, and this one was going to come out way more black. But at a straight, regular cone 6, and I did make sure it was at cone 6 because I always put an Orton cone in my stuff. This is the Orton cone for this kiln load. This is a normal, regular cone 6. It turned just the most normal black I've ever seen, and I truly cannot tell the difference in between the two. And spoiler alert, this gets echoed throughout the majority of my tests. I did a bunch of Rava cups, as you saw in the video, and this one is with the underglaze and the silkscreen medium that I have to use, right? This one came out fine. This one is the AMACO one. I cannot tell the difference. This one might look a little darker, but that might just be from application, because I did a secondary test, as I always do on the channel. If it works once, it's good. If it works twice, it's consistent. I seriously cannot tell the difference in between the two. Can barely see it, but the dot is right there. And so if you look really, really closely, you can see the little silkscreen patterns that I use. And I mean, you really have to try. And you can't really see the silkscreen mesh image through this one as much as you could this one over here. I'm willing to bet if I just put more layers of this on, it would just look exactly like this, even upon closer inspection. And that was echoed throughout the majority of the tests. These two are both the AMACO product, the jet black ceramic print, and one of them looks a little bit darker than the other, but these two are both the AMACO product. So I think it's just in the way that I'm using it. But truly, I am impressed with the fact that I don't have to mix silkscreen medium anymore, guys. I'm free. Now these here are kind of the most common tests that I got out of the kiln, but we do have a bit of a better test. You see, and I don't know if you know this about me, I don't like the color yellow. I hate the color yellow. The color yellow is a panic danger color to me. Same thing with the color red. You know what I mean? I don't like highlighter yellow. I don't like highlighter red. To me, those are danger colors. It's the reason why I hate old school McDonald's, and I'm glad they moved to the more modern version of them, is because those were just panic colors with fast food set in. So I was very, very skeptical when I did my Ocarina of Time with the deep yellow matte from AMACO. But you know what? Came out really, really good. And this whole thing is just really AMACO'd up. This is the milk chocolate clay body. I actually reconstituted it because I ran out, so I had to remix it with a little bit of porcelain, and it's still retaining its darkness, along with the deep yellow matte ink AMACO product. And this up here is actually leftover river moss from a previous glaze review that we did for an AMACO product. This entire thing is really just AMACO. Of course, I have my own brand of green that I had to test myself. This one is a newer green that I just developed, and truly, it came out the same exact way. This is the first one that I did, and I did have a little bit of difficulty using the silkscreen, but I think that's just my inexperience working with a new medium, because this one came out way better than this one here. It truly did. But it's good to see that it did make yellow. It is truly a yellow matte. It's not like a super shiny one or anything, and it didn't really interfere with any of the colors in the background, even though I didn't use it on a white clay body. I used it on a darker clay body, including one of my dark red clay bodies and the milk chocolate from AMACO. They both turned out really good. Considering that I really only do this kind of stuff with silkscreen, I think AMACO kind of just gave me like a lifetime supply of silkscreen medium already set up inks. These are great. These are fantastic. They are way better and come in much more standard colors than doing something like getting my underglaze, mixing it with a silk. Also, I have to buy the silkscreen medium. You know, I have to buy the underglaze, buy the silkscreen medium, learn how much silkscreen medium I have to put in there, mix it up really well, let it set. If it's too thick, I have to put water in it. If it's too thin, I have to put more medium in there. And every single one of the underglazes is different because they all are a little tiny bit different. I don't have to do any of that anymore. AMACO just kind of gave me the keys to the kingdom with these. I have a couple other testers over here as well. As you know, they gave me the entire gambit. So they gave me reds as well, whites, they gave me a blue one. And so I used one of them to do my red lotus symbol on one of my cups. And this one came out fantastic. Very, very, very stable. Very, very stable from AMACO. Again, just super, super stable. Let's just keep going. This one here, extremely stable. Very, very stable. I do have one problem with the way that I do stuff, not with the way the AMACO does the stuff. So when you look at this right here, it's extremely stable and well kept, right? Well, one major problem I have with a lot of me doing my own stuff with my underglazes, adding the medium, is that it ends up kind of chunky. So sometimes if I don't do it exactly right, I end up getting these kind of chunks right here inside of my image. And this is essentially a punishment mechanic for me not mixing the correct amount of silkscreen medium inside of my white underglaze and then using it. If I let it sit too long while I'm working, or let's say I'm working on multiple cups, it's just out in the air. I don't have it in a jar. It just messes up altogether. So stuff like this happens when I use the underglaze. But it kind of seems like I don't really have to worry about that anymore. Here's the crazy thing for me, personally, is that a bottle of black underglaze lasts me years, and I truly do mean years. I've been using this for the past 6 or 7 years. I've been using it for a very, very long time. And so I know, I still have this amount left in here. So I know this much lasts a very long time. I'm willing to bet that I will never have to buy another black underglaze and mix it with a silkscreen medium for as long as I live, just because of the way that I use these. Granted, if you use them in a different way, I bet you'll have to buy a, you know, like a bottle a year, but still, that's a very long time. I'm willing to bet I am never gonna run out of some type of silkscreen color or medium ever again with this amount, and this is just the starter pack that they sent me. This is definitely worth my time and money, even if I bought it myself, which I did not. Well, thank you, Dirty Potters, for joining me today for the review of the ceramic printing inks from AMACO. You know, I'll be really honest with you, I did not have a lot of faith going into this. I've had so much experience with underglazes, and I trust them so much that in my brain, I go, they're stable, they're easy to work with, they give me the color that I want. But these are everything that an underglaze is. On top of, I don't have to do that silly little game where I mix my silkscreen medium with just the right amount of water and the right amount of underglaze and the right amount of, you know, medium. I don't have to do that anymore. Once that medium's used up, I'm just gonna use these. But again, thank you for joining me in this video today. Remember to click that like button, and I will see you, Dirty Potters, next week.
Thank you for your patronage.
They even gave me a blue one, and I'm just letting you know right now that I am going to contact an artist and have them make a Mega Man silkscreen. And that's your fault, AMACO, for sending me the right color of blue to make a Mega Man. That's your issue now. I want you to know that.